Good evening, Broncos Country, and welcome to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and No BS. My name's Kev Dan. I got Jared, Spotty, and David here with me tonight. And of course, you guys, the viewers, are a huge part of the show. Make sure you type in your comments and your questions throughout the show because we want to talk about what you want to talk about when it comes to the Denver Broncos. Guys, we did it. We went to Vegas and we won. We won. So, Jared, man, take us off the bat. What do you have for us, man?
I'm going to say the same thing I told you guys. If anybody listened to the pregame podcast, and if you're not listening to it and want a premonition of what's actually happening on game day, make sure you go download it because Spotty hit everything on the head with exactly how that game was going to go, except for maybe the final score was a little bit different than what he had, but a lot of good things to come out of there. Got to see a lot of weapons used. I'm pretty happy, obviously, that we came away with the win. And you know, the P word is being talked about, not just on Bourbon Broncos No BS, but across the national media.
For sure. Spotty, it sounds like you were spot on, dude. I mean, that's why you're called Spotty from now on. Like, I don't know what it was before. Now it's because you're just spot on, and that's the reason. But, dude, what were you thinking when you made those predictions?
Well, you know, I was thinking that we played the Raiders too much over the last couple of years. That's really what it is. But there's some. The nice thing about some of these wins for us is it's not like we were perfect. We're coming out of this week with some things that we definitely have to work on. But of course, there wasn't a glaring. You're like, man, the Broncos aren't going to be able to make it the rest of these weeks if they are doing X, right? We're not exactly eking out wins anymore, which is probably the best thing that I've seen. I really question is this the best time or the best, you know, span of games that we've had in the last 10 years?
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and it feels like we have something sustainable on offense for the first time. Right. It feels like we have a baseline now. Where we kind of, if you know, I don't want to say every single week, but more often than not, and more consistently than it has been, it feels like we know at minimum how the offense is going to go out there and perform. Right? They're going to be competent today, and that's really something we haven't had in a long, long time.
Well, here we are coming up on December, guys. And David, you hit on head because, I mean, last year we were talking about playing meaningful December football, right? But was there really hope behind that? Was there really a feeling of, okay, this team has demonstrated consistency? We saw two extremes, right? We saw the beginning of last season and we saw that 5-game win streak and we were riding that high. And then when things fell apart, it was kind of like, yeah, okay. We weren't too surprised. But here we are. You know, we haven't won 5 games in a row, but man, we are riding this high because there is consistency. There is week-to-week growth. You're seeing things like Bo Nix elevating the players around him, right? So these guys look better because of the way Bo Nix is playing. The defense is just spot on every week with the exception of that one, basically against the Ravens. But we see what happens when they, you know, when things don't go well on the defense. But otherwise, they're incredibly consistent, and the Broncos will always be in those games as long as they keep doing that. So when we're heading into December football and we're talking about that P word, right? We're like, oh, there's like actually some substance here for us to build off of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to bring up, and I don't know if it was the post-game press conference or if it was Monday's press conference, but they asked Sean Payton about the game, right? Like, how do you feel that game went? And he goes, yeah, we got down early, right? I think that was, if you guys are watching on TV, obviously if you weren't in Vegas at the game, I think they mentioned something that the Raiders had never been in the lead. It hasn't been in the lead in like forever. Like it was a long time. It was like their first lead in a long time. I think it maybe at halftime. And what Sean Payton said was, this team a year ago does not claw back the way we did. And doesn't come back in the third and fourth quarter and do what we did. And it was kind of funny because the reporter was like, well, what was wrong with last year's team? It was your team too. And he was like, I'm not trying to discredit that team. Like, I'm not saying, it's just we're in a better place. And we know that we can do it. And I think that's the mentality. Back last year, we get down like that and it's like, well, they got our number, we're done. And this year it was like, nah, man, not only are we still in this game, but we can go out and win by double digits and take home the W and then move on to next week. And again, we've talked about this on this show. That's the definition of what a good team is. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat, especially if you're down, you claw your way back. I mean, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They have one loss in every single game they've been down, and every single loss has been one score, every win has been one score. Like they just find ways to win, and that's what good teams do. And I think we had it. We just had it.
Let's see, Anthony, how you doing? Sean, as always, go Team Puffball.
Happy birthday,
Sean.
bud.
Oh, I was gonna wish you a happy birthday, but that, yeah, now I'm gonna have to say
It's all right. It's all right. Team Puffball's ride or die. Team Visor is. Oh, that's right. They're nowhere to be found.
I was going to actually mention this tonight, guys, because in light of where the Broncos are and how dedicated, us diehard fans have been and sticking with this team through all the crap, I think there's someone here, David, that has shown extraordinary dedication in that I think there's only maybe a handful of shows ever in the last, 7 years that you have not worn a puffball. So, dude,
it's true.
You are dedicated.
I'll make the argument. Jared hasn't been wearing a visor for most of the time that we've been winning, so he might have to go back.
Yeah, that's true.
Golf hat.
That's true. The golf hat has been
true. The golf hat has been bringing some luck, so maybe I'll keep it on. And I will say, David, what you guys don't know is David is basically Kenny from South Park. He never takes it off. So it's just always wearing the hood. Always wearing the beanie.
Doesn't matter. Boy, they start to smell real bad in the summertime, guys. You gotta, if you're in it for the bit, you're in it for the bit. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, David, what else did you see? Focusing on this Raiders game. What other things did you see that, maybe we can talk about concerns from the first half or just things that stood out to you, because it's not necessarily how you start the game, it's how you finish.
And man, the way they finished, I read something on Twitter today. I think they had one pressure of Gardner Minshew in the first half and 22 pressures of Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder in the second half. They figured out something on defense and started playing like themselves again. And, credit to the Raiders for kind of blocking it up in that first half, getting the ball out really, really fast, and, hitting those intermediate areas of the field, especially after Riley Moss went out in that game. But yeah, there's more credit back to this defense then for figuring out how to shut down that Raiders attack in the second half and start getting that pressure again, finding those weak spots, not necessarily by just bringing 6 or 7 guys, which, man, that's so key going forward, right? And Neil, thank you so much. And thank you for being a fan. And Jerry, we're on Team Puffball all the way, pal. We love you so much. Anyway, it's good to see this defense be able to battle back like that. And it's good to see them be able to adjust and get pressure in multiple ways, right? There are going to be teams that have answers for you going down the stretch. The first thing that you want to do, can you counterpunch? And they showed that in a big way on Sunday, I thought.
We made adjustments. I think the biggest thing about the game was making adjustments, right? So as soon as we saw that Zach Allen was going to be inactive for this game, I think there was a collective groan from every single one of us.
Especially when I saw the walking boot.
Team. He is number 2 in the league when it comes to quarterback pressures below Trey Hendrickson, who's leading the league in sacks. So it tells you how important Zach Allen is to us. Now, we had a lot of guys that stepped up in his spot later in the game. And then I thought another really interesting adjustment that Vance Joseph made was putting PS2 on Brock Bowers, especially down in the red zone, which changed the aspect of the game. Now, that meant Myers was going off a little more, but it was still a bend not break mentality. All of that amounted to them still not scoring a touchdown. So we've only still given up only one touchdown over the last 13 quarters. 2 touchdowns over the last.
I think they got a touchdown though, but yeah.
They did. They earlier in the game,
Yeah, Amir Abdullah, just over Barton.
It's insane. I mean, when you are, it's not that you're just keeping teams to under 20 points. It's consistently, they're not getting touchdowns at all. Yeah, under 17. Like, they're not even getting a touchdown. If they get one, right, and then you hold in the field goal, when you have an offense that, we don't need an offense that puts up 35, 38, 40 points a game. Our offense is smart with the football. They're not turning it over. Bo Nix, interception record is great through the last several weeks. And then when they do deliver the ball, look, right now, Bo Nix has 39 passes on the season, 20 yards or over, and he's third in the NFL when it comes to passes, 20 yards or more. So our offense, right? Exactly.
His average depth of target, you guys.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll tell you the most impressive throw. We're going to maybe add this to our
Mike
thing.
reset. Mike reset.
Yeah.
Your robot voice. We'll try again.
Voice.
I'm sure it's a very impressive thing, and I cannot wait to hear
that's why
about
we
it.
can't have nice things, Jared.
This is why. But and maybe I hope I'm not about to steal your thunder, Jared. But the intermediate areas of the field are so available to the Broncos right now, especially with Devon Vele just working defensive backs and finding holes. But it's Troy Franklin found a soft spot in the zone, and Bo Nix hits a layer throw over the linebacker, underneath the safety, to the left of the cornerback. It was Jared. Tell me about it.
Okay, do I sound better now?
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, cool, good. All right, so the best throw of the game was, I think it was in the first half, because we talked about it at halftime. We were backed up against our own end zone, and I think it was like a 1st and 20. And he drills like on a freaking line to, I want to say it was Vele actually, over the middle, and just right over the linebacker, right to his hands. And a 1st and 20, like 1st and 20, we take a 22-yard shot down the middle, and it's there. He catches it, and we're moving on. And especially when you're talking about 1st and 20, and I think we were on like the 15-yard line or something like we were backed up against our own end zone, and then that got the drive going, and it was really cool to see. It's like not just when we need it. Obviously, the 3rd and longs and stuff when we need it is good, but like, hey, it's 1st and 20. Let's not play conservative. Let's get this damn first down and move the ball, and that's what he did. And it got the drive going, and it got everybody going. It was just an amazing throw, and it was an amazing read.
Vele, 6 for 9, 80 yards. I mean, my question, and this is more we'll talk into, going into the Browns preview, but when Reynolds comes back, where does he fit into this? Because you have obviously set number 1. I don't see how Vele is anything but your very strong number 2. And then you got Mims and Franklin there backing them up. I mean, again, when you have Bo Nix bringing out the best of these guys, that looks really good, actually, for the most part.
I think Reynolds could slide right in at the end of the bench.
Hey, he was playing well before he went down. I know you want to give Vele, you want to give the young guys their chance, but he was playing pretty well.
No, Vele, he was.
You haven't seen anything from
Vele's played better. And the chemistry's there. I don't see – you're talking about a hot hand at running back like we're talking about. How are you going to take the hot hand at receiver out?
No. What I'm saying is, like, it's not that he's going to come in and all of a sudden Vele is not going to be a threat anymore or a target. I say he can still come in. I think little Jordan Humphrey and Franklin are both very decent receivers, but I think he can fit into that top 3 receiver spot with Sutton and Vele.
Okay.
I'm just going with Reynolds' track record. Okay, there's a reason that he's still not on one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL, right? But he is good at blocking. I'll give Josh Reynolds that he is very good at blocking. But on this note too, and this is something we haven't really talked about as much over the last couple of weeks, minus McGlinchey, the offensive line has been playing lights out. McGlinchey had a tough game, and I want to be upset. I want to be frustrated, but it's Max Crosby. And Max Crosby has been kicking everybody's ass. It doesn't matter if it was McGlinchey or, there's all pros that have been getting beat up by him. So 100% the offensive line for the Broncos, we have to give them their due. 4th least sacks in the league up to this point. And that, of course, some of that has to do with Bo's athleticism, but man, I mean, the only thing they're not doing is run blocking.
Yeah. Yeah, my kingdom for a consistent run game, man. Like it and the Raiders are a decent defense. They're not slouches, but man, it just every week, every time we seem to find like a glimmer of something, then the next week it's just kind of gone, right? Yeah. And I don't know, maybe they're rotating too much, and maybe they just need to try and stick with somebody for a few games. I have no idea what the solution here is, but
here's the throw I'm talking about.
Robot voice again, pal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
son of a, well, I'm going to do the robot voice while I show you this. It was 2nd and 10 from our own 11-yard line. Oh,
I mean, the way he escapes there.
He didn't set his feet either. He didn't.
The way he escapes there, and it's he doesn't move right away. He doesn't panic, right? He takes that little bit of a step up and he moves when he needs to, but he finds the guy down the field. I mean, the fact his eyes are down the field that late into that play versus just looking for that quick dump off, that, check down, is just something we haven't seen from a quarterback in Denver in how many years, guys?
I think he's trusting himself in the offense. Like, I think it's just he knows where his answers are on to an increasing number of scenarios as he sees them week to week. I think he's really, really good at processing. Well, okay, this is the look that I saw against this play the last time, and this is the look that I saw against it 4 weeks ago, and this is what it looks like they're doing now. So if it's this, I'm going to do this. I think he's really, really picking up where his answers are supposed to be in this offense, and it's coming together.
See, the whole team has made huge strides, just impeccable for a builder team. A lot of unknowns at the beginning of the season. We got Jeremy up here. I think it's awesome to see this. The season was a rebuild, and knock on wood, Jeremy, knock on wood, buddy. We were playoff bound, maybe, but it's looking promising, right? Jared, what you got?
All right, sorry. This is the one I wanted to show. So we weren't backed up as far as I thought, but 1st and 20, he sets his feet. It's 1st and 20. We're not thinking we're going for it. Just on a line over
this
the
is
middle.
the whole shot. I'm telling you.
Just amazing.
Against
it
a
might
dime.
be a conversation for the offseason once we've seen the full season go. But already with the way that Bo has been playing, he might be top 3 quarterbacks we've ever drafted. But if he continues this way, he might be the best quarterback we've ever drafted, even just in 1 year that we've seen him. And, people can make their arguments about Tim Tebow. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of him as a quarterback, but somebody who is a leader and athlete, that's different. What I'm talking about is like a pure quarterback. Bo is playing himself. That's not a lot to go with. We already know that the Broncos have drafting quarterbacks. So it's not that huge of a hot take, but he's playing himself into potentially being one of the better quarterback prospects that we have had and actually panned out on.
Yeah. One quick note, guys, just back to the screens and low average depth of target discussion for Bo Nix. I just found the very pertinent graph on Twitter. The screen rate per quarterback in the NFL, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and Caleb Williams are all basically exactly in the same place. And you know who throws them at a slightly higher level more often this year? Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right. It is like we're talking about this thing like it's a big flaw of Bo when it is in part part of the modern NFL offense, a really big part, especially for young quarterbacks.
It is, and it needs to be. I mean, you look at the way that, and again, we hate giving credits to the Raiders for anything, but the way that they got to Bo in that first half was they were really putting a lot of pressure on him, and those screens stop that. Right, those screens are what's going to stop him from being so aggressive and ears pinned back to get to the quarterback. And I like the screen game. I don't know why people think that that's like a terrible part of your offense. Like, it's a good part of your offense. You're still getting the yards for it. You're not getting the yards after catch. What's the S dot or the A dot average
depth of target?
Depth of target. So I don't like looking at A-dot numbers. I think overall numbers are better because that means the scheme's working. And if you can get yards after catch, then you get yards after catch. Let it count.
Yeah.
The Raiders did 2 things successfully in the first half that had an effect on the Broncos offense. And I mean, one of them you can carry it in the second half. The first is they were crowding those A gaps. So they were putting linebackers up in the A gaps and I think they even did on a first down on one play. Which you don't really see that too often in the fact that they guessed right on a pass play, so they saw something specific. The second thing that they were doing really well was their outside guys were getting their hands on these pass plays. So the offensive line was doing a good job of pass blocking, but those guys weren't coming upfield as fast, and they were more concerned about batting the ball down than they were trying to get to Bo Nix. I don't think that's not a plan that's going to work out for you all the time, especially if Bo continues to drop absolute dimes out there, because the one that you showed to Franklin, that might have been even like the second or third best one. I'm pretty sure there was another one to Bailey in this game that just kind of makes you see it, because he's a developing quarterback, and you're like, there are more of these plays in him somewhere else. And if Troy Franklin could figure out which side of the ball is going to, there's probably about 100 more passes that might be going deep.
Well, and I'll tell you, we saw them blitz like 7 guys on the first 2 dropbacks of the game, right? And Bo responded by launching it on both plays. And yeah, he was nowhere near his receiver on those plays. They were distress heaves to just get that ball out. But at least he made them think about it. Like, he made them think, if you're going to send guys at me, I know I've got a one-on-one matchup somewhere. And if you keep sending them, I'm going to keep throwing it. And we're going to find it sooner or later. And they can do that now. Like, he really dialed in, and the offense really dialed in on answers to the blitz when they brought it as the game went along. And a lot of it included those deep shots and those, like you were talking about, the post to Vele. They're finding those answers in this offense. It's really cool to see. And it's really cool to see, like, even Max Crosby was blowing up our screen game a couple of times in that first half, because it's Max fucking Crosby. But they came back and said, all right, we can find another answer. There it is. Oh, yeah, that's the one.
That was after it was the challenge, and they said it wasn't a first down. And I love how we're like, okay, we'll get more then.
Right.
You should just let us have the first down.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so cool to watch this evolve in real time from week to week.
Yeah, for sure.
Has anybody said it? 7-5? Like
7 and 5.
Like that's what we're talking about. Like, I even look back at the record for the Broncos this time last year when we were going on a run. We were still at a losing record trying to come back up.
Really?
It's not like we were talking about it. And now we're looking at a December, because the Browns game happens to be in December. Now we're looking at December where we already have a winning record. So my question, and this is specifically for you, David. You were talking. You said 8 or 9 wins is a successful thing for the Broncos. So if you're looking at the schedule, do you only see 1 or 2 wins for the Broncos?
No, I don't. Because, Spotty, I believe that this offense is going to go out and show basically like I said, a baseline every week. Yeah, thank you, Kev Dan. I think they're going to play well against the Browns. It's going to be about blocking up Myles Garrett, but I think they're going to play well against the Browns on offense. I really do. I think they're going to play well against the Colts, and I am really looking forward to that rematch against the Chargers with the way Bo Nix is playing now specifically. I want to see what lessons he took from that game, and if he can go out there. I feel like even though the final score made it seem closer than it was, I don't think that game was out of hand for quite a bit of it. I think in the second half it got away from us, but it was just a couple away the ball turn, in the first half. I think we can get those plays to go our way this time. And I think it's because Bo has a better command of this offense. And we can put away any doubt in this defense, right? They're going to go out there and deliver every single week. So no, I see 3 and maybe 4 more wins on this schedule.
So while we're talking about this, because again, if you guys haven't heard the news, it came out a few days ago. The Broncos did agree to allow them to flex the Broncos-Chargers game into Thursday night. I hate that personally as a fan. I hate Thursday night games for the team. But this is going to be the Broncos' second away Thursday night game. So the Broncos had to agree to this. Sean Payton had to agree to this. So guys, put us in the mindset of, why would Sean Payton be like, yeah, this is a good thing for us. This is an advantage for us, because they could have very easily said, no, we don't have to. We're not going to. But they went all in. So what do you think, guys?
Does that mean all of our primetime games were away?
No, Monday's home.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Monday's at home? Oh, shit. I thought that was even in Cleveland. Woo, never mind. That changes things up.
Cincinnati is going to be an away game. That's going to be a fun one, but we'll get there when we get there.
Well, to answer Kev Dan, because Dave, you already kind of stepped into it for us. That gives us more time to prepare for Cincinnati. I don't know if that's actually the strategy. I'm not sure if Peyton had Cincinnati marked on his calendar by any means, but with the way that Cincinnati's playing, they should have a way better record than they currently have right now. And if they even are a remnant of that offense that they are currently, they're probably going to be the team that we're competing with for the P word. Don't get me wrong, the Colts are okay, but you know that they're good for at least 2 or 3 more blown losses somehow. And so it's really the Bengals. They're probably the most potent offense that we've seen since the Ravens. And so any amount of extra time that we can get to compete for them, I think that's a good idea.
And it's interesting, the game that got flexed out was Browns-Bengals, and we got flexed into that spot. So they were going to have the mini bye to prepare for us. Now we get the mini bye to prepare for them instead.
I think if you listen, I was going to say, if you listen to Sean Payton talk about, like, again, I think it's the same press conference, the post game, when they were talking about, like, look, there's some teams that you, like, of a 16-game season or 17-game season, you really only fully prepare for about 13 of them, or else you're just like, there's no way to prepare for all of them. This may have been one. I mean, and it would suck if it was, but like the Chargers game is one that we've already played them once, so we don't need as much time to prepare. And then it gives you that extra time to prepare for Cincy, because that's one that you really want to prepare for. So and he kind of said it. He was like, if we get flexed, like I really didn't care. I kind of said yes because that's what the NFL wants. And I'm cool with it. It gives us another primetime game. It gives us another chance to show off that our team is a lot better than what it is. We haven't got a lot of nationally televised games, except for this week we'll get one. But I think it's a good opportunity. Yes, I hate short weeks. I hate Thursday games. But it's not the end of the world that we got flexed, because we've already played them once, and part of the preparation is already there. We just got to finish it out.
They haven't set that game yet, right? The Cincy game is a potential flex game.
I think it is. Yep.
So it could end up being a
flex game. It might be a Sunday. It might be a Sunday night or Monday night game, depending on where each team is.
Now it also gives your it gives your coach a chance to show his young roster, I believe in you in big spots, right? I think you guys can go out there and compete on a national stage, because we're that team this year. We're that team right now. And if you do get to the P word, right, then your team knows that their coach has confidence in them to go out there and perform in a big spot.
Yeah. So I love everything you guys were saying. I hope you were going to hit on all of those things. The culture, and to say, David, I believe in you guys. We are here, right? We are well ahead of where I think really even Sean Payton had for us, or anybody reasonably had for us to be in at this point of the season. So there is a lot of faith there, a lot of confidence there. I like the chess move. I like you were going to get along in an extra couple days to prepare against us. We're going to take that from you, right? So, man, great stuff. We got the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast in here. How are you doing, buddy? Glad to see you here. Victor, how you doing, man? And Sean, man, we're going to talk about this as we close to the end of the season. That game is going to be interesting as well. Any closing thoughts?
It depends on how the Chargers are going, or sorry, the Chiefs are going at that time, because they've won too many close games. Like there's got to be a point where because at this point, Buffalo's got 2 losses. So
Buffalo's got 2.
So the Chiefs can't lose another game if Buffalo continues to carry on the way that they are. So I don't know that we'll get there when we get there. On that
we'll get there. There could be a lot of implications for both teams on that game. So the fact it's in Denver, the fact we'll be wearing our throwback jerseys, man, I think that's going to be a lights out game. Any other comments before we head on over into halftime, guys? Any other thoughts?
If we didn't have a halftime, I have a good transition about this week's uniforms. I'm going to beat David to the punch. So do the halftime, and I'm going to steal David's thunder.
Sounds good. I'll hand it to you first. Well, guys, it is halftime, so grab your Uncrustables or whatever you eat to get re-energized. We have a whole second half of the show coming up. We're going to be focusing in on this upcoming match between the Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns. Coming to Denver, first off, if you're in Denver, if you're in Colorado, go to the game if you can. Don't go to the game or don't miss the game because, oh, it's going to be too cold. Yes, it'll be cold, but we finally have a team that we can go out there and support. Just yell really loud, stomp really hard, and you'll be just fine. You'll be warm. So make sure you go to the game. Come on down to the Flagman tailgate in the back of Lot C. I'll be there along with Scott, who helps us out on the Monday night post-game podcast show. So make sure you come say hi there. If you want to feel like a champion,
Kevin.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to. Oh man, I was going to transition this for you. You know what'll warm me up at the game?
Yeah. What will?
A nice glass with some ice and a little bit of Breckenridge Distillery bourbon. I think that would definitely warm you up, warm up the insides for sure, and help you get through cheering on our Denver Broncos.
They do have a little spot set up in Lot C there, guys, where they hand out free shots of Breckenridge Championship Blend Broncos whiskey. So if you need something before the game, as well as maybe just, whatever, come on by, stop by and see them. Tell them that we sent you over so that, they can help us out, maybe sponsor us officially one day. Let's see. Energy all week. I love it, guys. Look, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. We got a ton of content here. And as we get down this stretch, it is going to get incredibly interesting. Every game is going to become even more important, even tougher. And you're going to want to be here for all of our coverage from the post-game podcast, the day after the game. We also got this show every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We are live for Bourbon Broncos and No BS. We got our pregame podcast comes out the end of the week, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. If you have one of those weird ones like Giggle Play, that's available as well. I'm sure we're there, but check that out. Game day, guys, 1 hour before kickoff. We are live with our pregame tailgate talk and our live halftime hash show as well. Basically, we got you guys covered on all this kind of stuff. We also got videos coming out throughout the week on all our different platforms, so you can check that out. Anyway, guys, it's fun stuff, and I hope you're energized because we have a lot to talk about. The Denver Broncos are ready to set to take on the Cleveland Browns Monday Night Football in a frigid game. Broncos slightly favored to win at this current moment. We're watching some injuries. We're looking to hear back some more definitive information from Riley Moss. Doesn't sound too terrible, but we don't know anything for sure. Zach Allen, we're expecting to have him back, but these are things to talk about, guys. So, Jared, man, take it away.
Two things. One, Kevin, we'll save the Giggle Play for our OnlyFans. We don't advertise that here. Second, I'm stealing David's thunder because I like to steal David's thunder, and we are wearing the midnight blue tops with the white helmets this week. So I'm pretty excited about that, even though I'm the one that never cares about the uniform matchup. But I'm mostly excited to steal that thunder away from David. Spotty, how do you feel about the uniform matchup?
You know what? Actually, I'm really excited because I think the white helmets would be really dope. But I do want to make the comment that I like the blue pants and the white jerseys better than I like the orange pants and the white jerseys. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there into the world. But I'm excited to see white, blue, white. I think it's gonna be a good look. Especially in the snow. Maybe it'll throw them off a little bit.
Well, I don't believe they've chosen the pants yet, so they could be going out there in all blues, which I don't know if it's a great look. I would prefer they go with the white. I think I've seen like a Madden mock-up of the blue tops, the white helmet, and the orange bottoms, and it looks really nice. But we'll see. Well, it's up to the players. Yeah. Okay, your skeptical looks. You stole everything from me. How dare you?
On the orange bottoms. I just don't think I'm sold on the orange bottoms.
That's fair. I've really, honestly, I've liked the orange bottoms every time they rolled them out, including with the orange tops and the blue socks. That it worked for me.
That was fine.
Yeah,
that was fine.
Yeah. As Kevin, as far as Giggle Play goes, I want to be clear. There it is. Oh, come on. That doesn't. You telling me that looks bad? I don't see it.
Yeah, we changed that for the white helmet, though.
Oh, yeah. You're right. No, still, I still think
it used to be white pants, white helmet. Otherwise, blue helmet. Those orange pants with that looks good.
We'll see. I don't think they're ever going to wear the blue jersey with the blue helmet. I don't know if they're allowed to. Anyway, back to Giggle Play for a second here, Kev. It's not weird. It's a fun, wholesome activity between two best buds. Now back to the Cleveland Browns, guys. And one thing I want to talk to you guys about as we get into this game, Nick Chubb coming back from injury, but has started to look a little bit better and a little bit better over the last few weeks. Is that a player that concerns you if you're the Broncos run defense? And is that something you kind of sell out to stop?
I'd be more concerned if the Browns offensive line wasn't a little bit banged up and hurt right now. This is not the best potential offensive line the Browns could put out there, and they haven't been very good all year. Now, Chubb he's a good player. He really is. But obviously the only player that we've really allowed to do what they've wanted is Derrick Henry. And for whatever reason, Derrick Henry's built like the damn Terminator, and no matter how old he just gets stronger. So I don't think he's the same man. I also believe that especially with the amount of snap count that he's on, that it shouldn't. I don't think that's the biggest thing for them. I think the biggest thing is potentially the off-brand style of football of Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge. And if we get Zach Allen back, I don't think we need to sell out to stop any run, unless maybe we're playing Philly. And in that case, everyone should just send everybody to Saquon Barkley. Do something to stop that man. But in general, I don't think with the way the Denver Broncos defense plays, if we get Zach Allen back in that middle of that defensive line, I don't think we need to sell out anything. I think our linebackers are playing pretty decently. And again, like you said, that Jameis Winston magic somehow, you saw it on the Thursday night game, the snowy Thursday night game. So they're used to playing in the cold weather and snow. It'll definitely be interesting to see how we game plan against someone who only have, this year we only have 2 games of game tape on them. So the coaches have a lot to deal with when they're talking about only 2 games of a player, looking at what they can do with this team.
But that's where we may have a little bit of an advantage that I want to talk about. Sean Payton coached Jameis Winston.
Yeah, that's true.
As his starting quarterback.
True.
And I think he's going to know exactly what tendencies he has, exactly what he wants to do in certain situations. I think that might be a really good advantage for us.
That's a good point. I like it.
It's not like Jameis Winston has grown dramatically or changed drastically since his time with Sean Payton.
Man. That's changed his whole life.
Okay,
he is
fair.
still very much that quarterback who is the only member of the 30-30 club, right?
Yeah.
Like he threw the ball to the Ravens twice in that game. If they pick off either one of those balls, they end up winning that game. And we're not talking about the Browns beating the Ravens. It's still Jameis Winston. He's still going to throw some balls that make you go, oh, wow. And some balls that are going to make you go, oh, God. And
wasn't he in the 30-30 club with Sean Payton?
No, it was on Tampa.
It was on Tampa. Oh,
yes.
Man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
That would have been fun to watch.
I almost feel like you glossed over the biggest issue for the Broncos in this game. Like almost like an afterthought. It's Myles Garrett.
Oh, yeah. We haven't talked about the defense yet.
I know, like somebody kind of mentioned it. They're like, oh, like Myles Garrett, and like poo-pooing probably one of the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah,
he had 3 sacks against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So,
we are fortunate that he rushes more off the left side, right? Like I'm glad he's not going to be, but they might just move him to Mike McGlinchey's side after what they saw against Max Crosby last week.
Well, hold on. Let's not poo-poo on McGlinchey real quick.
He pulled it back in the second half, and it's a tough matchup every day of the week.
I was about to say, you're going up against Max Crosby. Like, you can't, like, he had a couple holds, and that was tough, right? We were like, come on, man. But then you got to realize, like, oh, never mind, it's Max. Like, all right, cool. Like, do what you need to do. And yes, Max Crosby got a couple of good tackle for losses. I think he got a sack in that game. And
I don't know if they credit it to him or not. I can't remember now.
Yeah, but he definitely got a few pressures where we're like, man, somebody stop that dude. But just like Sean Payton said before this game, like there's somebody on the other side that you're like, that's the guy we got to know where he is at all times. And if he stays on the one side, it's a little bit easier to game plan against. If they're bouncing around, you have a play call that goes in, the dude bounces around, and you're like, crap, now I got to take my running back who I was going to put out in a pass, in a route, and I got to use him for pass protection. And it changes the game a little bit. But if the guy stays on one side, it's a little bit easier to game plan and manage. But I don't know. I don't know if I try between Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey. I think they're both very good. I wouldn't say that it's a good thing that he's going to stay on the one side.
No, I trust our mid-game adjustments. We saw what we did with McGlinchey. He had a bad first quarter, bad first half, but he adjusted well, right? So wherever Myles Garrett is, where left side, right side, if we're having trouble early on in the game, I'm fairly confident we're going to be able to adjust whatever, just like we did this last week, clean that up mid-game, and all of a sudden, those go away. And this is what we were talking about in the halftime show last week, is all those things that happened in the first half, those holding penalties, some of those bad things, the fake punt, for example, those things. It's like they can only pull that once. Like, I don't expect to see another fake punt in the second half. I don't expect to see another one of these in the second half. And so if we can clean that stuff up in the first half, maybe the Browns find early success. But again, the Broncos, with as resilient as they are, overcoming that, man, I think this is a game that the Broncos can handle.
And I want to point this out, Gary, because I think I have to kind of agree with something I heard Justin Strnad say after that Raiders game, and he said something to the effect of the record doesn't matter. This is the NFL, and if you make a couple of mistakes, you're going to be losing a game really fast, and that's just the way it is. The guys across from you are professional too, and I want that attitude to prevail in the locker room for sure. Because you can't be overlooking anybody, right? If you want the P word to be a thing, it has to be ingrained into your culture that you don't take things for granted. You go moment by moment. You focus on the matchup in front of you and doing your job.
These teams that are not looking to get into the playoffs because they're either already eliminated or have no chance, basically, if they do have any, they're just looking to spoil the fun for the teams they are playing. They're just like, okay, we're not going. We don't want you to go either. So they're going to go out there, and that's where December football, it doesn't matter who you're playing. They're going to come out strong, especially if your team trying to get into the playoffs. You're right on the cusp there. They are going to be looking to ruin your day. So look, anything can happen on any given game day, and the Broncos have to be ready for it.
Yeah. We just can't be. This is that point, right? We have to talk about it. We can't have letdown games anymore.
No.
If we have that with what we know we can do and where we should be going, a letdown game could be detrimental to this Broncos season. Now, we've already talked about it. Yes, we're doing much better than any of us even predicted, maybe besides David at this point. So, but
David was dead inside week 0.
That's how you start. You start dead inside, and then you got nowhere to go but up.
But at this point, we have to know we're going to be in the lights. This will be the first time that a lot of folks are seeing the Broncos play in prime time. A lot of the talking heads out there, they still don't really believe in the Broncos. They still say 14th, 15th best team in the NFL right now. So this is that kind of game where you have to come out and show it. You have to show that you're a capable team and that competing against everybody and crushing all the people you should crush.
Yep. Cannot play down to the level of the team you're playing against.
Nope.
No, good teams beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And that's what it comes down to. And that's why, I've never really held Pittsburgh in high. I've loved the coach over there. I think he does amazing things. He's I think got the most winning record seasons of any coach in NFL history. It's consecutive. But I don't believe in the Steelers. I just don't believe that they're going to go beat good teams. And then when you let one down to Cleveland the way you did, the close games that they've had, kind of sneaking away with some wins, we should be able to go out there. And I feel like I'm going to stick a boot in my mouth here on Monday night if we end up losing this game. But we shouldn't go out there and lose this game. But you got to focus and you got to make sure that you don't make the mistakes that the Steelers did.
Yep. Let's see, Jimmy. Need to be ready to go and make a tackle. I could make one tackle. It would break every bone in my body. I think I could do it. It'd be like a shoestring tackle. It wouldn't be like a full-fledged wrap. It would be like a
trick. I could tackle Judy. I don't know about Chubb.
I mean, Judy's got quick feet, man. He can. I mean, he might trip himself up, and you might take credit for the tackle, but
if you touch him down, you gotta touch him down.
He was wide open. He didn't catch it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite defensive back celebration. Like the receiver just drops it when he's wide open, and the nearest defensive back is like,
yeah.
You did it, pal. You made it.
Seatbelt. Yeah. Lockdown. Oh God.
I could not. No, I would be bowled over by any player on the Browns wearing pads, not wearing pads, and I don't care to try.
Sean, just because it's your birthday, we'll give a shout out to Mr. Consistent. Mitchell for Brony. Again, maybe he is the key to beating the Broncos. You beat him, the Broncos fall apart. I don't know.
End up in field goal.
Yep.
5 from Mr. Will Lutz.
From couple from 53 or so too. Yeah. And didn't, I mean, I think they got close to, the rush got there on the first field goal, but I think that protection held fairly well on those long field goals. I was pleased about that.
All I'm doing is watching that left side on field goals now.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm just like waiting for the body to fall, drop to the floor, and see those guys pile over.
Anymore. They shifted him over one spot.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I'm watching that left side. I'm just like, here we go. Oh, man. Bo is awesome, guys. This guy is making headlines across the whole nation, NFL. It is funny to hear the few pundits that have come out and given credit to Bo Nix and said like he's either in the mix or he's the front runner for offensive rookie of the year. And you hear all the other guys go, what? No, what? Bo Nix. So it's going to be really interesting to see again how he continues to step up, and you just see play after play. And one of the things that I don't think we've really talked about yet is his ability to put things in the past very quickly. It's not just that he's growing over the course of a week. You see him really managing the game, managing his mental state, putting things behind him, making those adjustments in game, and just pushing forward. It's fantastic.
I mean, did you see how angry he got? I forget who was talking shit to him. With the eyes.
Did you
hear nothing? That's what he said. I hear nothing.
Yeah,
and the referee,
linebacker or something like that.
The referee comes in and goes, "Oh hell no!" You saw him just go.
Yeah,
so funny. I don't know what was said by Tyree Wilson, but he goes, "Oh hell no!"
I really wish that was mic'd up. I would love to hear what that conversation was, because oh my gosh, that looks so funny.
The face though, I want that to be on every just Bo Nix. Anytime they show a stat, I just want them to bring up that face and just be like, this is the guy, it's just great.
We might be finding out that Bo's got that dog in him, bro. Like, everybody's saying everything has changed for Bo ever since he yelled back at Sean Payton on the field.
Oh yeah. No,
yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt. And I think what you're seeing with him now is we've talked about his comfort level in the offense, and it's making him bolder as a player too. Like on between the whistles, even that play where like he almost threw that pick because he was rolling out to his right and he was trying to find Lil Jordan Humphrey. Right? You know what? He was trying to make a play, and he didn't shy away from trying to do that. We played the play where he rolled to his left and found Cortland Sutton on that 2nd down and 10. We saw him throw across his body on the second touchdown to Sutton, and it was an absolutely perfect throw. I think it might have been a more impressive 2-yard throw than the 20-yard touchdown he threw earlier in the game, because it feels like watching preseason Bo Nix again almost, right? Like, you remember that confidence that he came out there and played with, and how he immediately showed that he was better than these second stringers and third stringers. It feels like we're starting to see that now against starters, and that's cool.
Yeah,
I love it. But I'd love us to run the freaking football.
So again, I know we're not talking about that Raiders game anymore, but we are now. And I think the biggest part is like credit to the Raiders again. Defensive line got pressure on Bo Nix, stopped us from running the ball completely. Like we abandoned the run game, which rightfully so. We needed to, but it was sucked. Like I think I mean, no running back. McLaughlin was getting going for a while, and then he got injured. And by the time he came back in, we tried to give it to him a couple more times. He didn't get very far, but that speed from McLaughlin was helping us out. I mean, he got a couple good runs, but yeah, that was miserable. Our run game was awful in that game.
66 rush yards.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
we
McLaughlin
won.
had 40 of them.
Yeah.
We won off the back of Bo Nix. We won off the arm of Bo Nix. We
Not even
beat a
that.
team based off the quarterback. There it is. Like, look at just the little bit of crazy in his eye. That says I could snap, and if I do, you don't want to be near me.
You guys also notice that Bo hasn't. It might be because of the quarterback spy, but Bo hasn't necessarily run the ball as much recently either.
No,
I think it
he
goes
also
back
hasn't
to
needed to as much.
Right. I think it just goes back to what we were talking about. Like, he feels like he has passing answers in the offense now. He feels like, I think it's probably coaching. I think they're deliberately saying you don't need to run as much. If you wait another half of a second before stepping over the line of scrimmage on this play, then this guy's wide open over here. Look for it next time. It will be there. And I think he's going out there in the game situations and trying it and finding out they're right. It is there. I just, you know, wow.
I don't think anybody's got Romanowski in them.
I
Not
hope just,
necessarily.
yeah, only a little. I hope if that's true. Like,
That might be the comment of the night, Sean. That's great.
Oh man, yeah. Bo only had one rush for 5 yards against the Raiders. You're right. You haven't seen him rushing as much as he did early season. I mean, he was our leading rusher for like the first 4 weeks or through the first 4 weeks or something like that. But you're right. I think part of that is the spy, and part of that is the fact that they have to hold a spy means it opens up a defender from dropping back into coverage, and that helps him out. And the fact that he's able to read that and see that is helpful. And again, I just love the fact that he's a student of the game. He's learning new things, and he's figuring out how to play these defenses. And right, I wouldn't say Cleveland's one of the top 5 defenses we played this year, but they're a very good defense. And this is going to be one of those tests. Yeah, this is going to be one of those tests this week. So we're going to see what he does against a better defense than, 31st ranked Raiders, and then the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense was ranked pretty high.
I don't think the Raiders is ranked that low, is it?
They were, yeah.
It is.
Wow,
it's almost as bad as the Falcons.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, time to go out there and show it again, right? Go out there and do like you did against the Chiefs. Go out there and play a tough defense like you mean it.
Well, guys, we are unfortunately getting close to that time where we have to end the show. But before we do, and Jimmy, this is a really good comment. Bo is being more patient and doing a good job reading his progressions. He's feeling the defense much better than earlier in the season. Everything you guys are just saying. So where this guy is, it goes back to my question, like it was at the beginning of the season, was, is Bo the guy? We know Bo is the guy. The question now is, what is his ceiling? And we're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting. So, hey, guys, before we go and before we give our closing thoughts, remember, check out Breckenridge Distillery. If you don't like their champion whiskey, don't worry. They have vodka as well. You can check that out. Don't forget about all of our other content, from the pregame, postgame podcast to all of our live shows that we do. Every Tuesday night, we're here at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, so make sure you check that out. Man, the Browns game, this is going to be fun. It's going to be cold, but it's going to be at home. Broncos fans, I think there's a level of energy we haven't felt in almost a decade. And we can go out there and we can be loud, and we can be just a fantastic fan base on Monday night. I think that's just, this is a game that we can win. We can use it as a statement game to the NFL, and really just, again, more confidence heading into some of these other games down the stretch. So it's going to be fantastic. Jimmy, I'll see you there as well, man. Okay, closing thoughts, guys. Spotty, let's start with you, buddy.
Starting with me. I think now that we're rolling into more of the P-word conversations, that we should let everybody know which teams that they should be cheering for on a week-to-week basis. So just to let you guys know, we are cheering for the Green Bay Packers because they play the Miami Dolphins this week. We are also, regrettably, going to be cheering for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they are going to be playing the Bengals this week. Other than that, those are the big ones. But there is a big cluster right around 7-4, 7-5 right now, which only helps us out when it comes to AFC matchups. So feel free to reach out. We'll let you know who to cheer against. But other than that, let's go. Let's do this. Let's get these wins.
Yeah, Pete, we got to remember, if we win this game and the Chargers lose, then we're above them too, and then we play them again. Mm-hmm. So we root for the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Chargers. That would be huge for us as well.
Yep. David, what you got, bud?
I am upset that I have to wait for Monday to watch this game. But isn't it cool, to be like, man, I want the game now. I want to see what they can do. I want to see if we get to keep talking about the P word, right? Because it feels like something we're going to be able to talk about next week. We'll get into it in the pregame podcast, guys. But spoiler alert, there's confidence in this Orange Weekly crew here, this Bourbon Broncos and No BS crew, and I think it's well founded.
Oh, also Patriots.
Oh yeah, I got to root for the Patriots too. Wait, where are the Patriots at?
They're playing the Colts.
Oh yeah, okay. So for me, I'm not upset that we have to wait till Monday. That gives you guys more time to listen to the pregame podcast if you want to on Monday during your drive to or from work. And then you guys get to watch the game and see how great that podcast is if you guys haven't downloaded it. But I think the other thing is, look, I only come home once. This will be the first time back in Colorado in 4 years for me. And it's kind of frustrating that I don't get to watch a Broncos game because I got to be back home on Monday. But it's okay. It's all right. I'll get my Broncos swag while I'm there and come on home. But look, it's an exciting game. It's a chance for us to prove that we're for real. I know a lot of people are going to doubt our record based on the last 4 games that we've played going into the postseason, but it just gives us more opportunity to see more defenses, see how Bo operates in the offense as he grows. And, we walk away with this one for a win, and there's just so much more excitement. There's excitement right now, and we're just going to continue that excitement going through. So make sure you listen to that pregame podcast to hear our thoughts and our score predictions.
It's going to be great, guys. Speaking of score predictions, make sure you join us live before the game for the Tailgate Talk, where we have our score prediction challenge. So if you want to have a chance to win that and some free Broncos swag, make sure you check that out. Guys, I have 2 breaking news announcements you guys kind of know some of them. For everybody watching, thanks for watching to the end, because I'm here to announce that next week we are going to have none other than, where is he? There he is. Jeff Legwold will be here next week on our show, hanging out with us. So,
hold on. Was that
photo, right?
Oh yeah, was that picture taken 25 years ago?
I think I just found it. It makes him look. Yeah, he looks really good. Yeah, it's an older picture, but Jeff Legwold, nonetheless, will be here sharing his wisdom and expertise with us, answering your guys' questions and comments. So make sure you're back here Tuesday night, 7 p.m. to see Mr. Jeff Legwold join us. Also, it is, as we get through December here, it is time to start talking about our fan appreciation episode. We have no details yet on when it's going to be, other than at the end of the season. But if you haven't seen it before, guys, this show is dedicated 100% to you all, the fans, hanging out with you all, giving away a ton of prizes. And I'm here to announce that I have secured funding. We will for sure be giving away at least 1 jersey as the grand prize that night of your guys' choice. So
is it a Russell Wilson?
Make sure. No, it's of their choice. Now, if they want a Broncos Russell Wilson jersey and they won, I'm going to honor that. I'm going to honor that. Okay, because
there's plenty of people who bought one that will be happy to give it away.
Yeah,
right here.
Unless he beats the Bengals this week, if he beats the Bengals twice, maybe he'd be a good choice.
So make sure you guys check that out as we come up with more details. We'll let you all know in January sometime, our fan appreciation episode, and we'll be giving away a ton of other stuff. So that being said, guys, check out the pregame podcast later this week. Broncos. Wow. Here we are, guys. End of the season, near the end of the season, and a lot of fantastic things to talk about. Neil, save that information in case you win. I'll take it then. Okay, guys. Any other closing thoughts? Anything else from you guys? Doesn't seem like it. Then I guess
That's
we'll end
what
it
we need
as
to
we
say.
always do on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow.